Hi everybody, this is Dragonraizar, and today we have a special guest, Maxkillian, the King of Nathyrnn and the owner of Nathyrnn. Say hi, Max.
Hello, everybody.
Now, as I said, you're the owner, but what exactly do you do as a staff member?
Well, as a staff member, I generally take care of the petitions, as much as I can. Come up with ideas and let Ardell handle most of the text. She's got a better idea of the English language than I do. She's got a better command of it than I do. So, just let her know which direction I want to go with something and let her run with it. And that's pretty much what I do. Just, like I say, keep the general chaos down on the site and just kind of give the staff the direction they need to go. And I try to give the staff actually a free hand to handle things the way they want.
And how long have you been in Nath?
Oh, I've been at NAF for almost 6 years. I think it'll be, 6 years. Actually, it's been 6 years. And I've been the owner of NAF for 5 years, going up, 5 years. 5 years. I think it was September 1st was when I actually took ownership 5 years ago. So it's going on 6 years. And February 1st will be the 6 year NAF actually has gone public.
Wow. Who was the owner before you?
Lady Claire was the owner before I was, and then Cersei and I had taken over ownership after her. We put in a lot of time on the site, fixing up things, and just doing the general maintenance. It was in a rather bad way of disrepair when we got here, and anyway, she wasn't wanting to do what needed to be done on the server, so we were looking at all of our work just kind of going down the drain, and so we just kind of leaped in and took ownership.
And I think everyone's glad you did. When you said it went public, what do you mean by that?
Well, the site was, your site goes up and you have to do work on it, kind of like, basically a beta site was what it was before. We come in, did some translations. She's the tech admin. It's what she does. She's really good at it, and she was handling that side of it, and I was kind of handling the side of, with the players and this and that, trying to get them set up on the site. But when we just felt comfortable with the site, that's when we opened it up and introduced the general public to it, not just the people that came over with us.
Awesome. How did you originally find out about Nath?
Darkness was over here before I was, and he'd been through the 3 sites that I have played. I'd been through all of them with him. I have a long history with him, and he was already over here, and the site we were at, we weren't real happy with, and he said, well, come try over here, and so we came to Nath, and that's where we've been ever since.
Cool. So your character Maxkillian is the king. Did was that originally? How did that come to happen? When it was it already like that when it went public, or how did that come about?
Oh no, being king really hasn't come about except for the last really couple of years. Cersei was the queen, and that was just the role she had always kind of played. So I just kind of stayed in the shadow and wouldn't really played the king role until after Cersei had kind of started fading off the site. And when she started fading off the site, well, Nathyrnn needed some kind of monarch because that's what it's based around. And so, some people have greatness thrust upon them, others are born to it, and mine just happened to be thrust upon me.
And here's a question I've actually been wondering for quite a while. Maxkillian's brothers are Raven and Kroll. Are you related to either one of them in real life?
No.
Okay, but how did you obviously the royal family is has quite a few members. How did sorry, how did how did those relations how did those get set up? Like, uh, obviously they're like with a Kyo and Star. They were adopted into the royal family, but just how did the royal family come to be? I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
Well, Cersei was real big on having children, and Star is actually Celeste's daughter, and so that's how that became to be. It was between Celeste and her. Uh, Celeste was, well, she wasn't adopted. She's in the role play aspect of things, she's an actual daughter. So it's been Keo was actually a son. That, matter of fact, I think both of them come from the other side that we were playing over to this side, and just maintain the same role.
And did how I can't remember their names right now, but also Max, Raven, and Kroll have their have their parents are also on the site, right?
The mother, Mina, is on the side. The father isn't anymore, but the mother still occasionally comes across the site.
And how did you and the Raven and Kroll decide to go with being brothers?
Well, with Raven, I've just played with the Raven for so long. It's, I mean, it's not. It's just kind of one of those things that's developed.
And Kroll?
Oh, and Kroll, that just Kroll come in and just happened to be an excellent role player, and just just seemed like it would bring in a new twist, and so we kind of played Kroll off as the long lost brother, and just kind of how it came to be. It's just one of those situations where you're like, oh wait, there's an excellent role player. We've got to have some kind of role for him, and so we did.
Yeah, but a lot of new players may not see Kroll because he doesn't seem to be too active. But more likely than not, they'll encounter Raven. But uh, that's I love hearing about the past and how all these relationships came to be. But anyway, I'll move on to the next question. How would you describe your character Maxkillian?
Oh, geez, yeah. I've had to evolve him so much that it's kind of hard to say, because he used to be a little different until I got the ownership. When I took ownership, Max had to become a little nicer. It's just kind of hard to extend the hand of ownership and be nice, and a lot of people can't separate what you're doing and say behind the scenes and Yom and what you're doing in the village. You kind of take things personally, and that's not how it's meant. It's just role play. So I've had to change what I've done with Max quite a bit over the years, and having become more of nobility and kingly than being kind of more of a scoundrel type.
Yeah, it's he also seems to have a bit of a dark humor as well.
Oh yeah, he does have a dark humor to him. It's you can go anywhere if you want to find somebody that's all smiles, pounce, huggles, and glowy. It's why not? It's just something different than what anybody else is going to offer. And that's the main thing. That's what we want with Nathyrnn, is to give people an alternative.
And just going on with this just the last question. How did you come up with Max, and how did you go on to develop his character?
Oh, yes. Hey, yeah, I just actually, when I started role playing with Max, I had no idea what I was doing, not a clue. I'd never heard of role play, never played role play, and that's been nearly 10 years ago. And I've just slowly developed him and changed direction with him. I mean, there's been just so many times I've changed with him that it's kind of hard to actually answer the question. It's the first side I was on. It was well, Max just had a serious bone to pick with some of the people on the site, and so that was so he had to take a different role then, and then once that site kind of folded and we went to the other side, well, there wasn't a lot of need to be quite so hard with him, and so I got to the other side. Max eased off of the gas a little bit, so to speak, and kind of became more of a people's person, and when at the other side, Cersei and I ended up, the largest clan on the side, a fairly large side. We had 80 to 100 members in our clan, and and a lot of that did a lot to do with that was, I had the changes I made with Max. Instead of just needing the attitude that he had, it was more, the fatherly figure, and that's kind of where we ended up getting a lot of our children at the time.
Wow, when you said 80 members, that's kind of shocking, because you don't see that big of a clan around here in Nath. But anyway, so it sounds like he had a lot of different personalities throughout the ages. But yeah, I actually find him to be one of the really interesting characters, just because it's kind of hard to get inside his head. Really, for me anyway. Other people, I'm sure, have better luck with that kind of things. But I just like those kind of characters. But anyway, is there anything else you'd like people to know about Max?
Oh, well, that's actually, if it's hard to get inside his head, then I'm playing him about how I should. If Max wasn't meant to be easy to get inside of his head, it's, one of the things that's just, I've thought, well, if you want to learn something about Max, role play with him, test him. See if you can push his limits, because he's going to push yours. That's what, having your limitations and having somebody push them, that to me, that's part of the fun of role play. It's, if you're just role playing and you're like, ha ha ha, I'm doing this all the time and I get my way all the time, there's not a whole lot of fun in that. That's, kind of like playing the same video game over and over and over and getting the same results all the time because you're going to win.
And I know as I hear now where it's not there's no 100% anything. Anything can happen, even no matter if you're an admin or how long you've been here. There's always a chance to fail, and I think that's one of Nath's really big strong points.
Oh yeah, I mean, like Max said, the last two missions he's went on, in the role play mission, in the live role play, weren't exactly, beaming successes. The one where he was trying to take the tithe to the capital city, well, the bandits are off with the gold, and Max come, within an inch of getting torn to pieces by wolves.
Yeah, that and for a lot of new people, because that could probably be kind of that might be surprising, but not a totally bad result to see. Because when I first came, I kind of imagined Max as the most powerful person in Nath, and then I started seeing that everyone had their strong points and weak points, even including Max, and that's when I kind of started becoming more comfortable in Nath.
Yeah, and like the last live roleplay mission, I think, didn't go real well either. Saying that Dog Soldier was crushed and Noriko had to run for his life, and I'm still not sure if Daragon actually made it out all right. Yeah, it was some vast confusion, But I mean, if I were going to pick the most powerful roleplay character on site, I'd have to go with Raven. But he's just been so consistent in the character that he's had to play. He hasn't had to change much. It's just he's been able to develop that character for years and years and years, and it's just it's when you can do that and you don't have to make changes, it's just you get more powerful.
Yeah, but you also don't see him in action too much, so he's kind of he's kind of one of those forces that's there, but you don't see. It's also more of a in the shadows without you don't know what Raven does a really good job of keeping his intentions and his abilities hidden away for you to find out at the moment he decides is right.
No, yeah, that's what he does. The thing people don't understand is with Raven, it's either an all-in or all-out kind of thing. He doesn't walk many fences. Just here on Nathyrnn, this is his third or fourth time he started the character over, and he's had 100 kills here 2 or 3 times already. When his character dies, he starts it from scratch, back over. As far as the dragon kills and this and that, but he plays it also where he remembers his abilities, but he'll build his abilities back up through the dragon kills. But but if you kill Raven, he's going to delete the character and start it over from scratch and build his character back up. And according to how many dragon kills he gets is going to be what also determines how much power he has.
That's actually I think that's a great method to play by, though. So that might explain why he doesn't go out too much, but he's a really interesting character. But before we go too far into this discussion, this is your video after all. We come to the perhaps last question. What do you want to tell people about Nath? What do you want them to remember from this video?
What I'd want to tell people about Nathyrnn is, it's how we see, role play should be. It's not, it's not necessarily, meaning this to knock the other sides. They are successful. They have their own niche for people. Apparently that's so. But Nathyrnn, if you want to role play, you want to step outside of yourself. Become something that you're never ever going to be in real life, because you can't be a magician or an elf or dwarf or troll or demon or angel or anything in real life. And you want to come into Nathyrnn and step in and just a place to get away. It's is what it's about. And and I was I was a player for 5 years before I ever became an owner. So I do my best to be fair to the players, and which I've come to find out that fair isn't what a lot of people want. A lot of people want favoritism, and that, well, we try our best for that not to happen at Nathyrnn. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. It'd be a lie to say favoritism never happens, but at the same time, it happens everywhere. But we try our best to be fair about everything, and if you're really wanting to role play and step into fantasy, then Nathyrnn is the site to come to be.
And it really is. It's a great place to come and develop your character, or even think of a new character, because that's how Zarks came to be. But and I have found that I haven't seen much favoritism myself, so but it overall is a really fair site, and really wants to help you develop your skills and see you improve.
Oh, well, when I talk about it's not, it's not one of those things where, what I mean, you're not going to be able to come in and this person's going to be able to come over here and attack you personally and it be overlooked by somebody else. No, we're not going to let any personal attacks go on. It's just, but but if somebody, they're like, hey, Dad, can you give me a little gold? That's the kind of favoritism I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, this. The general rules are going to apply to everybody. That's just how it is. You really can't bend on that. Or if you do, then you end up digging yourself, and you have a site that you end up with, 3 people playing.
Yeah, I didn't expect any of that kind of big favoritism, but yeah, that kind of. But what you're talking about is it would probably be impossible to prevent, and with and also with that kind, it's pretty harmless until it goes into the personal topics, and then that's I haven't seen, and that's and the personal favoritism is what I'm talking about. How I haven't seen, but normally that's kind of dealt with behind the scenes. But it overall, Nath I've seen, from what I've seen, Nath is strives to be fair to everybody, and I know a lot of people can be nervous about the abuse of power with the staff, and I can tell you that I've seen no such abuse during my between year or half 6 months of time here in Nath.
Well, I mean, abuse of power is what drove me away from the first 2 sites I played, and so it's one of the things whether I've succeeded at it or not may be up to some people, but it's one of the things that I go out of my way to try and make sure it doesn't happen is that there's not any abuse of power going on. Like anything, I've been accused of it before, and I'm just it's that's what you may say it is, but it's not everything that you see is necessarily how it is. It's just the way things are on the internet, and so but we do our best not to allow any abuse of power.
Is there anything else you would like to say before we end the video?
We tend to be friendly to people with disabilities, like dyslexia. We have quite a number of blind people that do play at the site. That's one of the reasons, I'm real hard on typo cops. It's these, there's a lot of these, mainly it's kids. It's, taking English, for the 4th time in 4 years that come in. Is, proper grammar and how to spell, and they don't really have much of a wit on them yet, so that's the only way they know how to lash out at someone. But people that have learning disabilities, like dyslexia, it's spelling isn't necessarily what's difficult for them. It's just transmitting it onto the screen that's the hard part. Or and a lot of these, a lot of the blind players, they use these voice activated programs, and accents can kind of make spelling something interesting sometimes, and so it's we try to go with the intent of what somebody is saying more than we do allow it to be allow them to be ridiculed or put down for hi, you're just a horrible speller, I can't talk to you. It's give them a break. This might be the only platform that they, may even ever try to express themselves creatively, because there's just not a lot of places they can, with their disabilities. So that's one of the reasons we're real hard on typo cops is we're watching out for players that may have some kind of disability to one extent or the other that makes it difficult for them in the spelling areas, or or just can't see.
And I did not know that part. I have the only time I ever correct a typo is when it's my own, and but uh, I never really go after someone else, and I haven't really seen that. Not, well, at least not that I can remember. So, uh, but that, yeah,
Well, yeah, well, there's a reason you don't see it. It's it's pretty well known. You know, a lot of players that don't play here anymore know that Nathyrnn's not going to put up with the typo cops. I mean, there's too much fun to be worrying about whether somebody spelled TOO or TWO. I mean, really, or if they'd done the mess up the here or the theirs. If you can't read between the lines, come on, get inside yourself, be a little more creative. If you want to, get at somebody or insult them, surely you can come up with something, that's a lot more wit to it than just because they misspelled something or used the wrong pronoun or noun or something to that effect.
yeah, and I agree. Spelling is and grammar are not a reason to uh, get mad or insult somebody, because I because there's too many reasons why they may not be that they might have made that mistake, and really just isn't fair.
No, yeah, that's the main reason for it. They're here to have fun too. It's so it's why why squish their fun? Just because of something that's out of their control.
Yeah. Um, so so is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
Um, our sister site, Myth. Would like to give a big shout out to Rain Darren there. She's been a really, really big help to us lately, and I want to make sure that she gets mentioned in this, and that her side has been really supportive since it's all come about. And she, when we had the weddings, she did real well of getting it promoted at her site and having people show up, at Baby Girl and Chef Shine's wedding, and just want to make sure, the Legend of Myth, our sister site, I want to make sure that's put out there, and and a big hand to Rain.
And yeah, as you mentioned, I think I think I'll also put a link to Myth in the video description, so to help them to make sure they get some recognition as well as in these videos, as well as Nathyrnn.
Oh, that would be excellent. Rain would really appreciate that, and so do we.
So any other topic or detail that we have missed in this so far?
Well, I'm trying to think that. Excuse me. Give you a little more detail on Max on his character. I'm trying to, but it's like I said, the stone magic. Yeah, Max uses the stone magic. It's not to the extent that his brother does, and Kroll doesn't use it at all. Let's see, and Baby Girl, almost forgot Baby Girl. Well, she used to watch this and see that I'd forgotten hers. I would hear about that for weeks. But she is also one of my original daughters from going back to the other side. So she's been around for 5 or 6 years, and a Nath book, and let's not forget Nath book. She takes care of Nath book, Baby Girl. That is, she's the one that I've just said, here's Nath book, run with it. Put your personality to it, and like I said, that's what I try to do with all of our our staff. If we give them an assignment on something, they're like, well, how do you want it done? We'll give them the basic guidelines, and but put your flair to it. But how you want it, how you would do it, and that's how we to try and do things, because of Ardell and I, if we come up with all of the creativity, then it's only going to be so much, and we will even get in our own ruts. But we like to try and tap into our other staff members and get their input and how they may approach something.
And Baby Girl's I'm friends with Baby Girl, and she she's also the forum moderator, isn't she?
Yeah, she's the forum moderator, and she's also started taking over the calendar for us to start posting everything that's going to happen on the calendar. So, if anybody comes up with any kind of events or whatever that, we approve that we're going to do in the future, then, they also need to get in contact with Baby Girl to make sure it gets put on Facebook and gets put on the Nathyrnn calendar.
Yeah. And she does a good job. And I'm hoping to get an interview with both her and Shaft. Shaft is a very interesting character, so it should be an interesting video.
Oh, I'm sure it is. He is an interesting fellow. Yeah, it's actually my hometown is about 100 miles from Shaft's hometown. It's kind of feel a little close to him, just because it's just a short distance.
Yeah, and so trying to think about anything. I'm also trying to think of anything else we have missed.
But the biggest piece of advice I would give anybody, when you come to Nathyrnn is have fun. That's what it's supposed to be at the end of the day. Have fun, enjoy yourself. It's and the second biggest piece of advice is don't come here to roleplay yourself, because if you roleplay yourself, you'll probably get your feelings hurt, and it won't be our intentions to do that, because we're expecting people to be role-playing characters, not themselves. And if you role-play yourself, then you have a personal investment in a character, and that's really not how how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, that's really good advice, and in fact, it's even on the tips page, but I'm not sure how many people actually go to the tips page, but yeah, it's especially when you're dealing with Raven, you might not want to put any you might not want to role. You definitely don't want to roleplay yourself, which might be a little difficult for people. It was a little difficult for me at first, but it's it's also the best way to really. I think it's the best way to actually get into your characters by try making it what you aren't. Like if you're a really good person, try doing an evil character. See how well you'll do with that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Try step outside of yourself. Come. Try and do something that you don't do every day in life. If you're a fairly nice person, then try and come in and play somebody that's a little wicked or mean, or pick the adjective that you want there, and go with it. See what you can develop on it. And I think one of the things Ardell hit on, is people that want to come into Nathyrnn with these very well-defined characters. They usually don't do so well here because they want to step in and be the person they were over at this side that they've played at for the last 5 years, and there's really, how did you explain again how you've gotten so much power? Okay, and it's just we like for the characters to develop on site. It's not a requirement, but it's difficult to get away with if you don't.
Yeah, and as I mentioned Ardell, that's kind of the same goes with your with any of your characters you use, because you can also use your squire, but you can I believe not believe When if you do come in with a character you've used, you try putting him in the shoes of a novice. That doesn't mean you have to start over from scratch. But it's kind of like kind of like do what you said Raven does is when you're starting a new keep the personality, keep the memories, but start over with power wise.
Yeah, it's I'm not saying you have to start completely without anything. It's just but don't come in and expecting that you're going to be as this extremely powerful being, and it's just most of the citizens of Nathyrnn just really aren't going to accept you just doing that right off the bat.
And I also would consider having a really powerful character would be actually kind of boring when interacting with others. When you're by yourself, like if you're writing a story, then it might be somewhat interesting. But the beauty of role playing with other people is having your weaknesses and your strengths balanced out, or maybe even starting out a little, maybe tipped a little in favor of weaknesses as you work up.
Yeah, it's your character they need their limitations. Max has his limitations. That's part of the reason it's so hard to get inside Max's head is it's if you know Max's limitations, then it's would make it easier to confront Max, and make it easier to attack Max. Being the king figure, he doesn't need that to be something out there for everybody to know. Yeah, it's and plus that's just part of the character development. If you're here long enough, then you get to know the characters more and more. You kind of know what they can and can't do, and what their limitations are, and that Max has his limitations, but that's part of the way I see it. That's part of the game. That should be one of those things that you come in and learn from it. Just like pay attention and you'll see what other characters are going to, what their weaknesses are. Like Zarks. I don't think I'm going to get Zarks to go take a swim with me anytime soon or go dance out in the rain.
Well, he's not really much of a dancer, but rain does bother him. But when you say, yeah, you don't want to take him swimming with you because not because he's a fire elemental, but because he can't even swim.
I mean, if people pay attention to Max, they'll, it's he won't say he doesn't like to do anything, but there's some things Max is hesitant to do. It's it's I guess I'll do that. It's and it's when you see people hesitate on some things, then it's worth taking another look at or a closer look at.
Yeah, and that's actually one of my favorite parts of role playing is observing other players and learning about their characters through their actions. It's just brings just makes it a little exciting in my opinion.
Yeah, it's I've been through, seen a lot of characters, that's had their strengths, had their weaknesses, like Raven, he's painted himself in a corner before, and I mean, literally for about a year, he couldn't even leave his garden because everybody in the village was going to kill him if he did.
You mean that's changed?
Oh yeah, he actually can walk about more freely now than he used to. But that was part of his, part of the, his weakness on that was, he wasn't able to be very mobile.
Yeah, it's important to have weakness, but don't go around advertising it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't just, and it's one of those things, where role play mimics real life on that. If you have a weakness, you're not going to go, paint it on a sign and put it in your front yard.
Yeah, and also I want to mention another thing weaknesses of or on that it it would be a good idea not to try to not bring in it's kind of, I forgot what it's called in the theater where the audience knows something that the actors do not. But if you're an audience of a theater and if you're not going to shout out, kind of trying to get the actors to know what's going on, because if you do, you'll get in trouble. Uh, when it's kind of like here, if you know out of a character what from being told or seeing a OOC conversation about a character's weakness, you're not going to go right away and exploit it as if your character suddenly figured it out of nowhere.
Oh no, no, that goes against the spirit of role play. It's there's got to be a certain amount of trust and honesty amongst the characters. To have good role play. If there's somebody knows something about somebody, but they didn't learn it in character. It's just they no, they shouldn't use that against them. It's but that's also part of role play. You have to you know trust that they're not going to do that. And at the end of the day, it's with me with role play, you either want to feel good about what happened or feel bad. Kind of sometimes good role play leaves kind of a sour taste in your mouth, but that's just how it should go. If every role play is going to end, all smiling and everybody's sitting around the campfire, drinking hell, then what's really the point?
And I agree with that. There's a can't really it's kind of like you can't really appreciate victory or success without having tasted failure a few times.
Yeah, I mean, it's consequences. It comes back to there. Your actions have to have consequences. You can't come into the village, going, "Hi, I'm whatever, and I'm here to kill everyone," and then get mad that nobody's just gonna stand there and let you kill them.
Yeah, that would probably end more unfavorably for them than what you described. But yeah, that's I would be actually more surprised if someone actually came in and tried that. But I get what you're saying, and I agree. I agree. It's and that's once again that's the great thing about Nathyrnn is it actually takes in consequences. And it's not just it's not it's not just all good and not a happy ending every time.
Yeah, and just like another one of our pet peeves, a lot of sites, people want to do that. Thinks to himself that so and so, and then be a very negative thought, and want to make it presented as I was thinking that. You can't reply to it, and we're like, at Nathyrnn, no, we have resident mind readers set up just so you can't do that. If you're not going to say it directly to somebody and deal with the fallout afterwards, then don't even put it out there at all. That's the whole idea of role play is to interact, not come in and just be able to take jabs. At somebody just because hi, I want to think this and not have to defend it or hear anything back from them. That's that's just kind of silly, to be honest. But we're not saying that it doesn't have its place to to do that from time to time. But just to use it as a tool, to insult somebody and think that you can get away with it. No, we're not gonna. We don't let that happen.
Yeah, and actually that'd be a pretty immature tactic to try to get to somebody, and it's really undefendable because if it's being thought, then there's really no reason to even comment post something like that. Um, and it's obviously an attempt to rile up the targeted person.
Yeah, it's it's just that's it's the total intention is they just want to insult whoever it is. It's a good way of putting it, the targeted person, and without having to deal with somebody saying something back to them. Because generally the people that do that are carrying around so much baggage that that they don't want anybody to reply.
Excuse me for a moment, Max. Sorry about that, Max. I had to step away for a moment.
Oh, that's fine.
I'll just cut out that time in between. It doesn't need to be there. Anyway, so we've been talking about this tower file. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Oh, I'm sure there'll probably be something that I'll think of after we finish this conversation, but at the moment, no, that about covers everything.
Yeah, I understand that it always happens, but I think we covered most of what there is to talk about, and I think this conversation has been informative for anyone watching this video.
Yeah, it's I guess if I just gonna have any final words, it's Nathyrnn is for role players. It's not a social network site. It's if you want a character to come in and role play, then Nathyrnn is the place to be. It's as it says on the front page. Wit is your weapon. It's be prepared. If you're going to come in, yes, you're going to have days where you are insulted. You're going to have days that you are not going to go away from Nathyrnn with that, nice sweet taste in your mouth. But at the same time, the days that things go right for you, it's a lot more rewarding.
And I agree with that. I've had both of those feelings some days, but I'm obviously still I obviously came back even after those bad ones, because that's just the beauty of role playing, is you just come back and just role play. It's just simple as that. Have fun.
Yeah, have fun. At the end of the day, if you go back and reread a role play, the role play should, with the limited post we have here, it should read, something, similar to a book or a play. There should be a flow to it, and that's what the idea of role play is. It shouldn't be a whole lot of skipping around. Granted, it may not be the best written book or play you have, but that's the general idea is that's how it should read.
Yeah, and that's role playing is being part of your own I view is being part of a book. That's that's just one of the beauties. We can probably go on for an hour at least about what's good about role playing, but Nathyrnn is a great role play site. It's welcoming. It's a great place to develop your role playing skills, or even your characters, or even I believe I said earlier, to come and make a new character and to develop. But it's also not if it's definitely not like a lot of sites where you like you just said, it's not a social network, but that doesn't mean behind the scenes, like in YOM, you can't chat with friends and all that. But I don't know how to end this, but that's really all I have to say about it.
Oh, Nathyrnn, we, like almost all sites, the admin, are diving into people's, dwellings to see what they're talking there. They're diving into the mail to see what they're talking about on their mail. And we do our best to, let the players have their privacy in their dwellings, have the privacy in their mail. The only time we ever check mail is if we suspect somebody that's doing something detrimental to the site, which is very, very, few times, but we, that's just, there's some sites that are just blatantly open. Yes, we're going to read your mail. We're just the opposite. Your mail is your mail. We're going to stay out of your, privacy of what you do on Nathyrnn. What you do in your dwelling is what you do in your dwelling. And, that's, that way people can feel comfortable that what is said in their mail, what's said in their dwelling is, isn't going to be, something staff's going to be going, aha, we have this right here. If something is said, leaves their mail or leaves their dwelling, then they pretty much know who it is because they know who they've told what to.
And that's another great thing about Nathyrnn is the respect of the player's privacy, and that's actually I think that's a really good one of the really big strong points of Nathyrnn is because a lot of people worry about what they're gonna about what they say in the mail or in their dwellings because they worry if they might one of the moderators or admins might get mad at them because of it.
Yeah, and I get one thing I'm kind of proud of with Nathyrnn. Nathyrnn is, something probably a lot of people don't know. It's the home of the Square Speak module. This is where it was developed. It was actually I got the idea from Argel. She used to come into the village and talk to her squire quite a bit. And I was like, well, it'd be kind of neat if the squire, if your squire could talk back to you. That way, if you, some people, want to role play something, they don't have to log in another character or find somebody to play off of. They can just go with their squire and play off of their squire. You essentially can have two players when you need it. And but I got the idea of that module, from Argel talking to her squire, and Cersei and I approached Twisted. He was the one that actually coded it for us. And well, as they say, the rest is history. And from that Squire Speak module is, where all of these NPC modules that Dragon Prime and all these other sites originated from.
And that's a really cool piece of information. I did not know that. Because I really like the Squire module. It definitely helps. It definitely makes it easier to role play with two characters without, like you said, creating another one just for that purpose.
Now, well, whoever, I don't know who coded the NPC module that's out there now, but whoever has done it, they've done an excellent job with the way they've done it, where you can, it doesn't show up, when you click on it, it doesn't give you a bio, the original module, you clicked on it, if it was my squire, you're going to go to my bio, and it doesn't show the clan tag. The original Squire Speak module would show your clan tag as well, but the changes they've done to it, for the NPC module that it's developed into today, I think they've done some good things with that as well.
Yeah, and sorry, Max. I need to step away for a moment again. I'm really sorry about that, Max. My mother was just coming to talk to me, and I'm back now.
All is good.
Anyway, is I know I've said this a lot of times, and I feel a little, I feel like I'm rushing when I'm saying it, but it's just because I can't think of anything myself. Is there anything else you'd like to cover?
No, I guess myself, talking about the Legend of Myth. I need to go over there and Dragons of Myth. Excuse me, Dragons of Myth. Um, I myself, I need to go over there and put my character over there on Rain's side, and I think it'll be the first time I've had a permanent character away from Nath, and well, since I basically come to Nath, yeah, I kept my old character alive at the side I played at before, just out of spite because the owner detested me, and I would just log in from time to time, just so it may make his blood pressure go up, but other than that, I really haven't left Nath in years. And a lot of that is well, there's a lot of people that don't like me for whatever reason or another, and there's quite a few that do. But I just was, I just decided, Max needed to stay home. But when I go to Rain's side, that'll be the first character I've had outside of Nathyrnn in probably 5 years.
Well, about if people not liking you, people liking that's to be expected of anyone, no matter what the position or rank or anything. But yeah, that's I'm also, I think I'm doing one over at Myth myself just to see how it is over there.
Yeah, Rain's a extremely nice person. That's a lot of kudos goes out to her and her side. And we're proud to have them as a sister side.
And I've actually run out of things to say myself. But if so, unless you have anything else to add, I think this would be a good stopping point for this video.
I think that should about be it.
Okay. Thank you for coming on and talking with me and let me ask you some questions for new players, old players, and even 2B players. And I also want to thank everyone for watching this video, for watching it, and if you're not part of Nath, both Max and I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching again, and I will see you all later.